You're listening to a Bespoken Media production.
They've got him back on his feet with strength. So, yeah, what more can you say?
It's had a massive impact on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Welcome to New Frontiers, brought to you by Scotland's Veterans Wellbeing Alliance. I'm Hannah Utley.
And I'm Richard Henderson.
New Frontiers is a podcast that shines a light on the amazing charities across Scotland that are supporting veterans and their families to thrive on Civvy Street.
And in this episode, we'll be exploring how physical health impacts veterans. We'll be hearing about the physical challenges veterans face and the wonderful work happening in Scotland to support them.
Now, what do you like to do to get active, Richard?
Well, truthfully, all I'm doing at the moment is walking the dog.
But that's great though, you're getting out in nature, you know, enjoying the sunlight, all that stuff.
It's a start, I'm not going to lie, it's a start. The only downside with it is on the evening walks, I do have a habit. It's not my fault, it's the dog's fault. She does tend to drag me in for a wee half on the way home of an evening.
She's a bad influence on you.
I tell you, she got me under her paw. It's ridiculous.
I think movement is quite important in my life. My other hat is that I am an aerial dancer and aerial dance teacher, so I do spend a lot of time sort of swinging around and hanging upside down from things and trying to inveigle other people to do the same. So it's quite important, but that's something that's built over time. Do you know, when I was younger, I didn't really like gym and PE and stuff because I wasn't very good at a lot of sports and I don't like to do stuff that I'm not good at. So it's definitely come over time though, knowing that I do need that movement.
You see, I didn't know that about you. I mean, obviously you keep yourself in good shape, but you've got an advantage over everyone. If part of your job's swinging upside down and on your feet all the time.
That's true. I'm never on my feet, to be honest. They're always in the air. Anyway, shall we come back to our episode for today?
Indeed.
So, first of all, we are taking a trip to Sight Scotland's Linburn Centre to meet John and Curtis. Curtis works for Sight Scotland, and John is a veteran who is visually impaired and benefits hugely from the services they offer. Please note that this interview does contain some references to serious mental ill health.
I don't know what I would do with my life if I didn't have this. This is a highlight in my week. I love coming here.
Hello, my name is Curtis Campbell. I am a digital activity worker here at Sight Scotland Veterans, and I'm a part of the Digital Hub. So the Digital Hub is basically a telephone conference call service that we run with veterans. So we have multiple centres around, one in particular here today. We're recording this in Mid Calder, which is the Linburn Centre in Wilkeston, and then we've got our sister centre which is in Hawkhead in Paisley. So my job is actually to reach out to veterans that are out far and wide, so those that maybe don't actually attend the centres, and those that do attend the centres, especially those. The main kind of target for the Digital Hub is isolated veterans. So we run telephone calls where we call in veterans, bring them into conference calls, and we run activities such as quizzes, chill and chat groups. We are also launching a music group as well. Now we have new facilities to accommodate this, and also book kind of group as well.
Well done, guys. Yes, it's six strings. Have you got a delay in your phone again?
Right, four's on a bass guitar. Eh?
Mm-hmm.
Four strings on a bass guitar.
Obviously, Paddy's got a delay in his phone again. Yes, 4 on a bass guitar, John. You're absolutely spot on, mate. Well done. Right, John, your question to probably finish us off today, John. John, if your corner man tells you to get off the ropes and jab the south paw, you're obviously in the middle of what type of event?
A boxing ring.
A boxing match. Yes, John. Well done, guys. Fantastic. That was brilliant. I am going to end the recording here.
Good luck, David.
Good luck, David.
Good luck.
Most of the kind of veterans, as I say, we deal with in the digital hub are those that are isolated and out with the centres, so don't get any interaction, very lonely, or just really maybe early in the early stages of sight loss and maybe not ready to come to our centres yet. So we're that kind of in-between part, or we're just that part that, is relevant for that veteran at that time. Good laugh, great banter, and it brings the veterans in from all over. I say we have veterans on calls from right at the top of Scotland to literally right at the bottom of Scotland, right towards the borders, and some actually out with those that have maybe been on calls before but have had to move due to family or personal reasons as such. This is the joys, yes. You tend to find that everyone loves these rural areas as well, beautiful places to live, but unfortunately don't come with a lot of social interaction as well. And that's why with the telephone calls, it's a really easy service for us to actually reach these people as well, because we know that most people can answer telephone calls. When we say the digital hub, we kind of get that reaction of panic. I don't know how to use a computer as such, even though we have great services in place at Sight Scotland Veterans which would show them how to use it. Everybody at least has a telephone or a mobile, and it's really easy. Just call them in, have that wee kind of one-to-one chat, find out a wee bit about their day, give them that wee bit of kind of personal touch, and then we add them into a conference call where they'll get to meet other veterans, either in the same boat as them, or, it's maybe, as you say, we're going to speak to John, or you've spoke to John at some point. So John is a big part of our calls and now attends twice on our calls and then comes into the centre as well. So John actually now comes to the centre with people that he's on the calls with, and that's been a big step for us, is trying to get these veterans confidence to come in and meet other veterans as well by using our facilities such as the centres.
Hello, my name is John Barber. I'm retired. I stay in sheltered housing in Dunfermline. I was in the Remy, and as I say, my wife, she was a really bad asthmatic, and I didn't want to go away for any length of time and leave her to bring up 2 kids on her own. Otherwise, I would have stayed in the army. In fact, to be perfectly honest with you, I should have been born into the army. I would have had a better life than I had. Again, I was only in for 2 years, but again, I was so happy. And again, the camaraderie and things like that. I just wish I could have went in longer. I used to get a phone call, like a friendship phone call from different people related to Sight Scotland, and then I was told about Sight Scotland Veteran Centre, and for the day I started over here, it's changed my life completely. I can't say enough or good things about the place, the people. They're so helpful, so friendly. I don't know what I would do with my life if I didn't have this. This is a highlight in my week. I love coming here. And also with Curtis and Donna with the quiz. Again, that's the quickest hour of the day. I can't praise them enough for what they do. I mean, it's unbelievable the difference it's made in my life. When I had my guide dog, again, he changed my life. And then I was diagnosed with cancer and I just couldn't cope with him. I had him for 9 years. And then I had to give him up, and just a few years after that, my wife passed away. And since then, I've got nothing in my life, apart from Sight Scotland. I can't praise them enough for what they've done, how they've changed me, because before I wouldn't speak to anybody. I just felt alone. It's just changed my life. The first experience I had was with the digital hub calls. To begin with, it was very quiet. The other people that was on the quiz, they've said the difference on me since the beginning is unbelievable, because I was very, very quiet. I wasn't wanting to intrude into their conversations and things like that. But it's gave me more confidence in interacting with people. Well, it's a quiz, but it's also a chat between different people. Like yesterday, it was only me and Helen, one of the other veterans, with Donna. And the fact it was only the two of us there, it was a chat for an hour. And as I say, it's the quickest hour of the day. And I really enjoy it. And to be honest with you, I didn't know what to expect. But I can't see very much. But I can feel the atmosphere. And the atmosphere felt very friendly. And as I say, the people in here can't do enough. They're so helpful, so friendly. I've never had that in my life. And to begin with, it was a wee bit hard to take in, but I love coming over here.
John is probably the best candidate for describing what we do as a service, and I'm talking the overall service inside Scotland Veterans. John has had multiple contact with the different services that we have in here. So started off with ourselves in the digital hub, where he was a shy fellow, didn't talk, literally sat in the background, and you would have that one-to-one conversation with John, and he was very low mood and things like that. But since that has then, personal life has changed around and it's been uplifted, and there's been a lot of change there. He's dealt with our independent team, he's dealt with our rehab team, he's also had contact with our finance team as well that we offer here at Sight Scotland Veterans. And with the help of those services and ourselves, we've now managed to get him in a position where he's able to come to a centre, which is here in Lindburn. So John also travels from Dunfermline, which we will go and pick him up. But John wouldn't even leave the house. He would never leave the house. Even on the telephone calls, he would tell us that he doesn't get out of the house and doesn't do this. Since that, John has moved into sheltered accommodation, and his whole attitude and even motivation to try new things has completely changed. And it's made him, he'll tell you himself, which you'll hear in the podcast, is that it has changed his life, and we can see that. So we've always been an advocate that if we can help John, we can help others as well. In the same sort of position as John, because he's not the only one that we've had these and helped in these positions as well. But John is a prime example of the help that we can offer here at Sight Scotland Veterans, not just from one service. It comes as a collective from Sight Scotland Veterans, and with all the different departments that we can really make a difference in people's lives. It's amazing. So I started in the organisation as just a receptionist in the Hot Kids Centre, and I was only having those kind of brief wee moments of chat with veterans, maybe taking their jackets, putting their name badges on, and you weren't getting that. So I wanted to do something a bit more where I had a bit of more of an impact with veterans. And when the position came up within the digital hub, because it's a brand new kind of new service going around for a couple of years now, so it's starting to get established as such, but I wanted more of a interaction with veterans, and to have John as that kind of first one where it's been like a success story has actually changed my kind of mind and my motivation to want to help and get veterans in the same boat. I'd have those one-to-one conversations with someone like John, and because you can kind of rub off on people, you can feel their energy and things like that, but we're obviously trying to flip it, so to turn that negative into a positive, and that's something that we've always tried to do. And I've had that help with the colleagues that I have, especially my colleague Donna, who I run the digital hub with, and our manager Jason as well, which has been a big thing. It's all about making a positive impact. Yeah, we might not be in person or we physically can't put eyes on the person, but it's all about spreading that kind of positivity as well and changing the flip side. So we're actually seeing more of a support network for these veterans rather than just simply being on a telephone call with them for an hour per week. We are able to refer them into different services because we're having that conversation with them. So we find out a wee bit more about them and such. So we have more of a personal touch with veterans as such on the telephone calls. But for me in particular, it's just been amazing. It really has. It makes my job worthwhile, and just to see the difference that it's made to John and other veterans' lives, because there's been other success stories out there, but John in particular, just from how I know he was at the very start, he's got a biggest smile on his face when I come into the centre or we're on the phone calls, and he's actually participating. He's not just coasting, he's participating now. I think that's been the big difference for me, and it's made me feel really happy and that I'm doing something a wee bit worthwhile. He's definitely coming out of his shell.
Lovely, Jim.
Well, you're showing off now, Jim.
Well done.
I didn't want anybody to think, oh, poor me, poor me. I've really had to fight all my life, you know, to put myself out there. And at the beginning, I was a very shy person to sort of fade into the background. But now I feel more confident and able to speak to people more. I mean, if this had been 3-4 years ago, I wouldn't have did this. It's just that I've got more confidence with the digital hub, with the centre, talking to other people. It's just changed my life.
Yeah, so both of our centres work together. They're basically the exact same at either place. That was the message we wanted to get across, so that veterans were getting the same experience regardless of what centre they were going to. Basically, what a typical day looks like for a veteran when they come into both activity centres is that they would either be picked up by a bus or they would self-travel into the centre. They would come in straight away and they would have that kind of moment where they can have a bit of chit-chatting with other veterans, round at their tables, teas and coffees, biscuits, that kind of idea. Then we'd have an activity. Now, the range of activities is fantastic for what we can offer. We've got certain ones like a woodwork room, so they can create kind of projects and things, because a lot of these guys have had maybe these type of jobs, type things, so they can still have that experience and still do it with the support of a staff member, even if their sight loss is maybe getting deteriorating. We've also got a skills kitchen as well, because a lot of these people are obviously living alone, and we can also help them, especially with equipment and things, because that's where we come into place with our rehabilitation team and getting shown how to use equipment and things like that. So we actually all work together, which is an amazing thing. As I say, you get this experience at both centres, but as I was saying, you get a skills kitchen, so we show them how to make maybe different recipes, food type things. The gym, obviously we know people want to keep active, which is the main sort of thing. We've also going to got, in particular here at the Lindburn Centre, there is a bowling green on site, which is fantastic. The Hawkhead Centre uses a local bowling club that they've got a partnership where the veterans can go down there. So we still offer things like the bowling and things. What we always find is, it doesn't matter what activity it is, if it's art, if it's the kitchen, if it's woodwork, they always come in with the same thing: I can't do it because I can't see. And we try and flip that around, because that is not the case. We have trained staff that are in there. We've got help from the independent living team. We've also got the rehabilitation team, and we show them that their sight loss doesn't define them, and doesn't show them that just because they do that, they can't do, just because they have it, they can't do it anymore. Like, we have these staff members in place and give them that wee bit more. We're all about encouraging independence, especially, and that's the whole kind of message through Sight Scotland Veterans, is encouraging independence. Your sight loss doesn't just define who you are as a person. It's just something that you've got to deal with, but we give you the tools in place to help you with that. Like John has said, when we were on the calls with him, I've never picked up the bowls and things like that since. He's obviously sight loss and things. That man is now here, especially if it's a good weather, which it comes far and few here in Scotland, but if it's a good day for a weather, that man is out playing bowls again, and he's doing it with a smile on his face. It's not like a chore or anything, he's out doing the things that he loved, which is what we try and create in the centres.
That's one to you, John.
Well, I'll play first then.
Right, you can play first.
Brilliant.
That's it now.
I do lawn bowls, which I'm going to do in the afternoon. It's just to interact with everybody else. I mean, the veterans over here as well, there's, you know, interacting with each other and things like that. It's brilliant.
That's it now.
One of the times when I came over, they said, would you fancy doing rifle shooting? I thought, are you off your head? He says, no, it's sonic rifle shooting. And there's one of the guys, I think he was in the SAS, Ian, his name. And as far as I know, he used to be a sniper. And we were chatting away before we started it. And I thought, I'm going to get knocked into the ground here. I knocked the centre of the target out, and Ian's was all over the target. And he says, I think you should take my place. I like that. I like curling, because all my life I've basically been a loner. apart from when I was young, when I was a hippie.
The centres aren't the only things out there for veterans, because we've recently just obviously did a centre without walls day, so this is the big thing that we're encouraging, and this is kind of why the digital hub came to place, that we will be giving the same sort of service that you would get within a centre. We'd recently just run one in Montrose. That was part of the sport and partnership team within the digital hub. They'd put on a full facilitating day where veterans that are out with, as I say, that don't come to the centres, get the exact same experience of what they would in a centre.
And you'll have this end, Jim.
Do it you,
very
Jim.
Good, very good,
Do
Jim.
it you.
We get my act together. I would just say, get your head in order and do what you can do. Because as I keep saying, this place has changed my life. I wouldn't even like to consider what my life would have been like if I didn't have this. Both the phone calls and the centre. I don't think I would have been here, to tell you the truth. But anybody out there in this realm, I would say, get your head on and get yourself sorted out. Because I've certainly sorted myself out.
So what an honest and heartfelt story that was.
Yeah, really powerful stuff, isn't it? Hearing about John there and his experiences and the kind of changes that he's seen through working with Sight Scotland veterans.
It just shows the impact that, these organisations have, like these activities have. And they mentioned there as well that it's getting more popular, because it does take time for people to know about your service, know what you're doing. And the outreach it's going to have is phenomenal. And they're lucky in many respects. It's a fantastic centre. They've got a lot of facilities there at hand to help people, which is just as well, because it's needed.
Yeah. I kept thinking about this being a lifeline service, that for some of these veterans that we're working with and we're hearing about, these kind of services really are lifeline services, aren't they? They really are make or break for a lot of folk, and I think that's really important to remember. It's
all too easy for people to become isolated, living in their own mind, and to be able to have a service that helps drag you out of that.
Yeah. And I think, John said that himself, didn't he? That he felt like he'd always been a bit of a loner, and that actually what we heard from him and from Curtis is that the social aspect is really important. It's the interacting with the other veterans and I guess coming to a place where that sight loss or another disability or mental health condition even doesn't have to define you, does it? It doesn't have to be all that you are.
Not at all. And we come back and we say this word community a lot, but that is a community, and it gets people out the door. It gets people engaging. And most important of all, it gets them all talking. It gets the banter going. We talk about banter a lot and sense of humour, but it's key. Next, I'm taking a trip to Helensburgh to visit a yoga class run by the Journey Fitness, set up and run by a husband and wife, Steve and Gail Losh. I was a bit too busy chatting to join in with the yoga myself, but I think you'll find the start of this interview very relaxing. So here we are on a slightly overcast day in Helensburgh. We're on our way to go meet Steve and Gail, who set up the Journey Fitness Centre. It's right in the heart of Helensburgh. They're doing a lot of great work, I've heard. Really looking forward to speaking to them and find out more about what they're doing, what's going on. I can tell you now that standing from outside, this is a very impressive building. I think it must have been an old bank or something. It's over 2 floors. So let's go inside and see what's happening.
Relax your spine nice and tall and just soften into your belly. And we'll just take a couple of breaths here again, just breathing in through the nose. As we exhale, just take a wee breath out through the mouth. We'll take one more breath. Exhale out through the mouth. Hello, my name is Gail Losh. I am the owner of the Journey Yoga and Wellness Centre. I've been teaching yoga for over 10 years. Before that, I was in the Ministry of Defence Police for 30 years. And now I deliver yoga and wellness to the community. Yeah. So if you just carry on, if you keep breathing, into where you're feeling it, and you'll find that will kind of release a lot of tension. It's amazing what the yoga will do. So you will find it will free up. Now that you're back from your holiday as well, you'll be able to log into your neck.
Hello, my name is Steve Losh, the owner of The Journey Fitness. Having served for 28 years in the military as a physical training instructor and submariner before that, I now spend my time looking after veterans, well-being, mental health and physical health.
Could you just tell us quickly, what's on offer here? What happens in the gym? What's available to people?
Yeah, so since we partnered with the Veterans Alliance and Wellbeing Organisation, we've created opportunities throughout the week to come along to bespoke personal training sessions where the doors get closed and the only people that are in the gym are veterans or their families. And we work individually with them to make sure that we're looking after them in the best possible way we can. And again, you do the same in the yoga studio?
Yeah, yoga-wise, it's an hour that's set aside for veterans. So it's your time, it's your hour. In that space, we'll do some yoga. It can be seated or standing. We'll do meditation, we'll do some breath work, we do some sound therapy. I'm also qualified in intuitive psychology coaching, so we'll integrate that. We're also going to be using some sauna blankets and neck massagers. So there's lots of stuff to do. Where am I starting? I told you from head to toe. I've got that bit there, that.
You walk in the door and you just are welcomed. It's absolutely fabulous. They give you warmth and a great feeling of being part of something that's bigger.
We like to think of ourselves as a family.
Oh, it does, and you know what it's done
family.
for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's helped me in so many ways.
We're just going to continue with a few more breaths here, just allowing your body just to soften, to release. And if your mind starts to wander, just come back to your heart space. Just focusing on that space, that healing energy in your heart space. From here, we'll just bring one hand and place one hand over your heart. And with the other hand, you can place it over the top of that hand. And just connect with your heart. Feel into the connection of your palms and your heart space. Feeling into the warmth, the energy. And just take a moment here, just checking in with your heart. And just asking your heart, what do I need in this moment?
My name is Melody Grayson and I am the Assistant Project Coordinator for Gairloch Head Support Trust. So basically my job involves looking after our 207 members. We're a charity that supports veterans, their families and the wider community to combat isolation, loneliness, mental well-being and physical well-being as well.
What does this environment mean to you? What brought you here in the first place? And what's keeping you here?
To the Yoga Hub. It was a project that was started specifically for the veterans and the wider community members of our charity to come along to free of charge. As I said, our charity, a lot of what we do is reintegrating people. And if you can make somebody feel better within themselves, which yoga does, it gives you some self-value as well as the physical attributes. It also gives you some self-value. If you can give that to somebody, then lots of different aspects of their life improve. So for me to come along, I come along, one, for the physical benefits, but also to support our members that come along, because biggest part of my job is supporting our members and organising things for our members. So that's what brings me along.
And then you can stretch anything your body's calling to stretch. You can bring your hands up, give them a big stretch. You can stretch your legs out if you want to stand up and stretch. Or just take a little twist, that's okay.
And a lot of our veterans and members of the wider community, Sue is living with her daughter. But I think you've often said that what it's doing for you is making you feel included. And bringing her along to yoga is doing that. Apart from the benefits of the exercise and the relaxation, it is also including her. And we have so many lonely, isolated veterans out there, because we all know when you're in the services, you're wrapped in a blanket. Everything is done for you. You don't have to think for yourself because you have somebody above you doing the thinking for you in terms of daily functioning. But when you suddenly come out of that environment, you're no longer in that cocoon, you're no longer wrapped in that bubble, and you have to then start thinking for yourself.
We all look at yoga, and I'm imagining, a lot of veterans thinking yoga. A, do they fully understand what it is? Also, does it feel a little bit out there for them on where they've been before? How would you explain to a veteran or a member of their family to come along here and what it's done for you?
I always say, I cajole them a bit and say, explain what it is to them and what it involves. And I start off by saying, well, try it. You may not like it, may not be for you, but until you try it, you don't know. So it may be something that once you try it and you love it, you realise what you could have had or you would have missed out on if you had given it that opportunity. So you have to cajole some of the members, because at the end of the day, it is alien for some of our members. It's totally out there, totally different to what they may have tried in the past. So it's how you communicate it to them.
I think when you guys talk about it as well, that helps,
it's like
doesn't
a
it?
calming thing, and you're stopping for that time and just being in the moment here. Everything else is gone. You're totally on what you're doing with all your exercises and everything.
I mean, I have to say, I wasn't here for the whole session, but since I've come in, I'm feeling very relaxed, I've got to admit, and I wasn't even really taking part, so it's got to be a good thing,
It's the background music we get as well. It's just all very, you just you feel it sort of just going from the top to the bottom.
A little bit of movement into your toes.
Gail and I live in Clinder, and the submarines sail past our house every day. I was once that submariner. I was also once the physical trainer that looked after the people when they came in and went out. I'm now the person that's looking after the person that's left behind, the families that are left behind, the children that are left behind. We've connected with local football clubs. We've connected with local dance groups. We've connected with coaching for children. We've connected with well-being. And eventually we've created a well-being hub here in the centre of Helensburgh to support and add to what we created with the Journey Fitness. And I have the most honourable pleasure now of being able to serve that for help veterans, because it's very close to my heart.
My wife and I, we go to the Journey Gym on a Friday for Strength and Balance, it's called. And we do different size of weights, and it depends on what you can do and what your physical ability is. It's all catered to what you can do, basically. We have an instructor, and he or she, depending on which one it is, they monitor everything we do so that we're not harming ourselves. And personally, I've felt a lot stronger for doing it. I've been into weight training and yoga and things like that for years anyway, but since I've injured my spine, it's become a bit of a problem. But working with Journey, it's helped a lot. We do a lot of different parts of the body with weights. And I've found that working with my back, I've found it's strengthened my injury. If you see what I mean, it's quite strange.
Exactly.
What he's not actually said is in the last 3 years, he's been stuck in the wheelchair for at least 6 months, twice over. So this is why this has been so important, to get him rehabilitated and back onto his feet, to give us that freedom to actually take part in everything else.
And how would you say this gym compares to others? What's kept you coming back here?
I think it's the trainers, basically. You get people who know what they're doing, and they can coach you in if they see you doing a wrong technique or something like that, they can coach you into doing the proper exercise so you don't hurt yourself. Yeah, we've thoroughly enjoyed meeting all the people that are in charge and do the training with us. Yeah.
And how long have you been coming here for?
For 3 years.
Because of his spinal damage, you can't go to a gym where it's all about posing and sweating and getting, this is sort of like physiotherapy, but more enjoyable because you've got a tutor, there's different things to do, but they have the skills and knowledge to get you back on your feet safely, which it's so important. I was constantly worrying about him. I had to wash his feet for him because he couldn't bend to wash his feet, and there was such a risk that he would trap the spinal column. So the fact that these instructors are of excellent quality, they know, and they've got him back on his feet with strength. So yeah, what more can you say?
It's had a massive impact on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah.
Off your chair, back into your everyday life. When you're ready, you can take a little bit of movement into your fingers.
So never has a name, the journey, been so apt in what you're doing and delivering here. I've spoken to quite a lot of veterans over the last wee while, and one of the things that came out in conversation was when we were talking about mental health and well-being. It wasn't necessarily the military that had caused any problems with their mental health. When they'd come out of the military and they'd gone back home, life was the same, and they suddenly realised actually it was more what happened in my childhood before I joined the military. But what actually triggered it, and a few people have said this, was the breakdown in physical routine. They were so accustomed to, having their routine, doing their physical exercise, and then the minute they got a job in Civvy Street, they found it really hard to get the hours in to do that, and that's what really started to notice the decline in the mental health. And it wasn't them that noticed it; it was their partners that noticed it first, and then eventually they would necessarily go to the GP or one of the other organisations such as Rock to Recovery or what have you to look at it. So, have you come across that yourself? Have you noticed with veterans coming back in that they need that routine again?
Some people have to drive that road slowly because there's speed bumps on it, like anybody's life. And if they go over the speed bumps too fast, the chances are the car's going to break down. Our job at the journey and the well-being is to assist them over those road bumps at a speed that allows them to recover. Because the recovery part of being a veteran is sometimes the hardest. The transition from military life to civilian life can sometimes be quite hard for some people. And what we've tried to do is come up with, we're not clinicians. We're not going to stand there in a white jacket and assess your clinical situation. We're going to practically help you and guide you to what you can and can't do. And in the gymnasium environment, we call it primed for life. What is primed for life? Primed to go shopping, primed to go out and play with the grandkids, primed to go walk up a Monroe, primed to go for a walk with your wife or your husband or your spouse. All the time, if you can stay primed for life, you can stay mentally and physically stronger. And that's something that we'll see splattered around all the gym walls. Keep moving, keep talking, and keep engaging.
I think as well, being a wife of a veteran that came out of the services, it's true. There isn't a transition to help veterans come out of service life, and finding a routine is a massive thing, isn't it? It's just, but going to the gym, finding fitness, stretching, yoga, breathing creates a new routine. So it's all about finding a new routine that you can take into the next step of your life. And I think that's the big thing of looking at. It's not, a lot of people hold on to what they had and not moving forward where they are. But I think fitness and yoga, even just being outdoors in the nature, out walking, helps you, gives you that clearer mind. It gives you that strength. The couple that you were talking to before, a prime example of how just a few months of doing fitness has really, really changed the way that they think, the way they feel. And I do think it's just a case of getting people in and realising, you have to find a new routine. It's not changing your whole life, it's just creating a new routine for you in your next stage of your life.
I think what's really important about what we're trying to create here is environment. Environment to a veteran so matters.
And community.
Community, the sense of belonging, the sense of empowerment, the sense of feeling safe is what we've tried to create. And I would love to replicate that in every single part of Scotland that we could. But we're just doing it our way because we know it works. And if we can help and guide anyone else in the future to help them do it in their communities, the best bit of advice I could give to anybody is keep moving, keep talking, and stay part of the community. And that's what we're trying to create for these people.
What do you think is the biggest obstacle for you guys and for veterans to get the support that you're offering?
I think the biggest problem for veterans to overcome is change. They are set in their ways, they're set in their thought processes that actually I can't anymore. I can't do that. But I think one of the most important things for every veteran is always start to believe in yourself that you can. Try and take the T away. You can do it if you turn up. Allow the subject matter experts, the coaches, the trainers, the people that we're surrounding you with, allow them to do what they're best at doing. What I try to do with the journey is I try to get veterans working with veterans. So our trainers are veterans, our teachers are veterans, or are connected to veterans. I think that's empowering because veterans love to be around each other. So it can't always be the case, but if you can have that ethos of we are one together, it's very, very easy to make it right.
Have you got any words you would say to a veteran that may be listening to this and sitting on the fence and not quite too sure, maybe liking some of it, not sure about the others? What would you say to them to get them on board?
The one message I would give to any veteran that's sitting there thinking, fitness, yoga, well-being is not for me, I would strongly suggest to come to the front door. Take a step in and allow us to do the rest. Once you take that initial step, which is really quite difficult for some veterans to do, having been the military fitness trainer for 27 years and being the guy serving you at that point, the point I want to get across now is things have moved on, well-being and fitness has moved on. Find a place that allows you to be met where you're at and let us help you on the journey.
For me, I would just say if you're sitting there and you're listening to this and maybe sitting on the fence, either reach out to us, speak to us. We're there, we'll be able to talk to you, or come along and try it. Yoga's for everyone, fitness is for everyone. You do what's right for you, and that's all that's expected from you. And just grounding yourself back into the present moment. When you're ready, we'll come back up. We'll take our hands back to our heart mudra. Well done. Thank you for joining me. Namaste. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you. It's most enjoyable. You feel different. I feel different when I come out of here.
That was a really fantastic conversation again, and one of the things that really stood out for me from that is that phrase of you just take the first step and let us do the rest. And I just think that's such a powerful kind of ethos to work from, isn't it?
It is, and and speaking to everyone, I know these shows are all edited down, and I was lucky enough to have the most of the day there, hearing a lot of the stories. But just the fact, the changes it's made to people's lives. I mean, that lady there that was having to put her husband's socks on and clean his feet every day, and there he is standing, doing weights, going to the gym. Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, it's transforming people's lives.
Yeah, and it's so easy to forget that how good for our bodies movement is, isn't it? And when you're someone who has very little movement available, how positive it can be to regain movement, and how you can regain so much if you've got the right support and people that understand your condition and how to best support you and get you on your feet or whatever it may be. Thank you so much to all our contributors today, to John and Curtis from Sight Scotland Veterans, Steve and Gail from the Journey Fitness, and of course all of those who were taking part in their yoga class. Thank you so much for listening to New Frontiers from Scotland's Veterans Wellbeing Alliance.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please share it with everyone that you think would find it useful.
You can help us out by rating and reviewing the podcast in your podcast app.
Please have a look at the episode's description for links to the organisations mentioned in this episode.
To find out more about Scotland's Veterans Wellbeing Alliance and the organisations supporting veterans around Scotland, visit svwa.org.uk.
New Frontiers is produced by Bespoken Media. Recording and editing is by Patrick Wallace, Katie Revel, Ailish Hunter and Dave Howard. The music is Something New by the Eastern Plain. See you next time, Hannah.
Over and out.
Produced by Bespoken Media.